General Gantz, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and what a time to have you on. I've been told that there are some slight problems in the Middle East right now, slightly chaotic region, and Israel is in the middle of it. I think a good place to begin is in Syria. Obviously, Syrian civil war, massive humanitarian disaster, a lot of bad actors there. And you have the Golan Heights, a very strategic area, obviously, on Israel's border with Syria.
This is obviously a very serious challenge, but I think that we should start first saying really how tragic is the situation there, mainly for the Syrian civilians who are becoming the victims of all this event. Now, without getting side, I don't think Assad is good, I don't think that ISIS is good, I don't think that anyone there is good. And unfortunately, those poor civilians are actually paying all the price. From Israeli perspective, however, and knowing that the Iranians are trying to set a terror base there and others are operating in this area, ISIS might send some troops, some activists in this direction. But knowing our capabilities, I think that we are well prepared. We have organized the entire border in the last few years with the right concept, right technology, right organization, right infrastructure. It's not that it's not a challenge, it is a challenge, and definitely the IDF needs to take care of it. But I think that we are secured and strong, and I sleep well at night.
I look at Syria, General, and I see Sunni jihadists battling Shia jihadists. It kind of seems like a microcosm of the broader Middle East right now, where you have Sunni and Shia at each other's throats. What are some of the challenges that presents for Israel, but also possibly some of the opportunities that presents for the Jewish state?
It creates lots of challenges for us on many levels, I would say. You can think of a huge challenge in terms of intelligence. You can think of huge challenge in terms of operational aspects, etc., etc. Obviously, huge challenge in terms of humanitarian aspects. But above all, I would say that we risk losing the stability we used to have. As far as opportunities, I think it has to do with two issues. First would be, can we align ourselves with the more moderate countries, Jordan, Saudis, Egyptians, etc. I think we're capable of doing it. It's important for us to cooperate with those people. But one of the more important things I would say is that, let's see if people are strategically honest with themselves. Is really Israeli-Palestinian issue has to do anything with it? Are we influencing anything of it? Or are we the only solid, democratic, humanitarian rock that you can find in this stormy weather? And I think this is exactly what we are. And if people will really acknowledge this very basic fact, we will be in a whole different place. So it won't solve all our operational issues. It won't solve the intelligence challenge, but it will give Israel its backwind and its backup that it needs in order to stay like we are.
Yeah, one of the major players, obviously, in this Sunni-Shia divide is the Iranian regime, marching across the region. But it seems to me, General, that Iran is not only Israel's problem. It seems to be a much broader problem.
No, by far, you're right. I mean, look, I've said it before and I'll gladly repeat it here. Iran, it's definitely a world problem, challenge. It's a regional challenge. And it's also an Israeli challenge to a degree. At that order, I think that Iran malign activities are threatening other countries in the region. Its terrorist activities all over the globe is threatening all over the globe. And it's also potentially threatening us. We see what they have with Hezbollah, we see what they were trying to do with the Golan Heights.
These ballistic missile tests now.
Yeah, but it's true that we cannot not look at it. And nevertheless, once again, going back to what I know of Israel's security capabilities, I think that we are a very strong country.
It's great that Israel has that deterrence capability against the Iran threat.
Unfortunately, we need it. I mean, look,
it's a dangerous neighborhood.
Well, it's true, and you rightly said, it's mainly the Iranian regime. It's not even the Persian people, which is a great culture.
That's right.
So we have nothing against the Iranians. We have nothing against the Persian. We were allies till 40, 50, 45 years ago. It's pure the regime who attracts Iran from being what it can be.
Speaking of Iran, and you mentioned Hezbollah, Iran's most dangerous terror proxy, global terror network, obviously. You've worn many hats in your distinguished career. You headed up the Northern Command in previous years. Talk about that Hezbollah threat on Israel's northern border. Look, how many rockets and missiles? Over 100,000, according to some estimates. How serious is that threat, and is there the possibility, unfortunately, that hostilities could come again?
Hezbollah have rebuilt its forces after the last Lebanon war. It's 10 years ago. Iran took care of it, of course, and financed everything and gave him everything it can. The Syrians have gave him some of their capabilities. So it is serious. Hezbollah keeps the area, in terms of us, in a very, very stable situation. Hardly any events. And he does so not because he likes us. He does
Sheikh
so.
Hassan Nasrallah.
Yeah, he understands what would happen if something goes wrong. It was Nasrallah who said years back that if would only think 2% that that's what Israel is going to do to Lebanon, he would not abduct those 3 soldiers, right?
In the 2006
In
war, the
2006 war, yeah. So can it happen again? Yes, because realities, even though that sometimes strategically speaking no one wants it, tactical event can, create a whole flame and it starts, and sometimes things are getting out of control. Do they want it? Do we want it? We never want anything from Lebanon, To exclude security, we have no interest there. So we don't have any reason to do anything, to initiate anything, right? From their perspective, I think they rightly assess that if Hezbollah is to start something, it's going to be tough for us maybe, but we will win. Hezbollah will pay dramatic price, and unfortunately Lebanon will pay the price as well.
Coming up after the break, much more with General Benny Gantz. We're talking Hamas, the threat to Israel from the south, talking about the latest wave of Palestinian terror in Jerusalem, and we'll get to know Benny Gantz, the man. That's coming up after the break. It's The Watchman. It's Christians United for Israel, only right here on TBN. Stick around.